I'm dating a rare one. A man who doesn't want kids.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Lives on Reddit. Don't forget to subscribe to be a for lifer.
Hey all, I'm Childfree, 24-year-old female, and I'm just starting to date for the first time due to heavy insecurities and a high population of douchebags in my area, and it's both exciting and frightening. Currently dating a guy my age. We've been talking a lot and hung out only twice due to our insane work schedules, but we share a lot of our interests and have similar goals, hobbies, and opinions together, including not wanting kids. I made it abundantly clear on my dating profile I cannot and will not have kids. Got my tubes thrown away. And I can't count the number of men who have liked or messaged me that have kids that want to change my mind. Like, no, I got my tubes removed for a reason, not to take care of someone else's kid. Well, this guy had on his profile he wanted kids, then asked about my opinion on kids. And I was brutally honest. And he told me he couldn't care less if he did or didn't have a kid. Alright, we're off to a great start. We just got done talking on the phone for almost 2 hours, and he told me how much of a handful his niece is now that her infant brother is now beginning to crawl. He told me he loves his niece, but him babysitting her and dealing with her tantrums has set his mind to steer away from having kids completely. He even told me he was willing to get snipped. I told him if we do end up together, we're taking things slow since I'm new to this dating thing, that it wouldn't be necessary since I already had the procedure done. But he was firm. Even if he didn't meet me, he would still go through with it. He said he likes his free time and his patience, lol. And if we do become serious, he'd rather just spend time with me and our pets and travel. Did I find a unicorn, y'all? Please let this be real. He's my first boyfriend. Wish me luck. Oh, I remember the good old times of dating and having guys tell me they will change my mind about wanting to have kids, even though it was clearly written and discussed that I didn't want them. Kinda hate them. Like the laughter of children and their joy or their screams make me anxious and disgusted. I did end up finding my unicorn though. He is sweet and such a genuine good man. He tolerates kids better than I do, but same as me, doesn't want them. I hope your unicorn ends up in your heart. This guy said on his dating profile that he wanted kids, but then said he would get a vasectomy for you even though you can't get pregnant, and you've only met twice? Seems odd to me. I had one conversation with my new boyfriend and he realized kids were an option, not a requirement. He's been happily child-free with me for 10 years now. They definitely exist. I married one and he's had the snip to save me dealing with hormonal contraception. Also, it was so much easier for him to have the procedure than for me to be sterilized. The doctor basically laughed me out of his office when I asked. Congrats! I was your age when I found my child-free male partner, and we've been together a long time. It took about 7 boyfriends, one very short marriage which basically ended when he finally figured out at the honeymoon that not all women change their minds and want babies when they're married. And I had lots of one-off dates before him to find someone actually child-free and not just lying about it, so I know the struggle. People always say, oh, you get through boyfriends quickly, or why do you only see people for one date? And my answer is, because they lie. Good luck to everyone still looking for their child-free partner. I hope you find them soon. Why do men have kids but don't want to take care of them? A lot of men, but it would be too long for the title. I've worked in kindergarten for 7 years. This includes what we call in my country family camp vacation. You go into summer camp but with the whole family. I've worked with hundreds of different families, thousands of different kids. Mothers I've worked with, friends, family, it always ends up the same. Mother tells me the father isn't really involved in the whole family crap. No matter what the situation is, in my opinion, a lot of stuff aren't open to debate and are pretty obvious. Here's the latest example that got me. Yesterday, my best friend got mad at her husband because he doesn't want to eat with his family. He sits down, eats in 5 minutes, and then goes back to video games or television. She already talked to him about that, but he doesn't see the issue. His whole behavior changed after the second kid. So he never spends time with his kids during the week and she has to deal with the kids during dinner. My sister-in-law sent a text message to my mother telling her she was over with my brother. He sleeps until 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon on Sunday, and she just feels like he's a provider and has nothing to do with his family because he doesn't spend time with them. A few weeks ago, she told him to spend time with the kids. He brought them to my mom. At kindergarten, when a kid was sick, I would call the first parent on the list. I was already ticked when I would see it was the father. It was like negotiating with a robber. Please, come take your kids. No, I already called the mom and she said you agreed to pick your kid up. When going too far, I was just telling the mom her husband doesn't want to pick up the kid and doesn't answer his phone anymore. Guess at the end who would show up? These are the stories I have heard and saw 1,000 times. Why have kids if you don't want to spend time with them or don't want to take care of them? How can you let your partner do most of the crap for something you wanted so bad? In one case, one of my friend's husband harassed her to have a kid. He disappeared when his daughter was 2 months old. The little girl is now 4. She has never seen her father. I don't know what it's like in your culture, but in mine, men don't really give a crap about their kids unless they're boys. Girls get treated like overprotected pets that do most, if not all, of the housework while boys do frick all. Guys only ever want to be a father to teach their sons how to do guy crap, and only ever bother with their daughters if they need to chase away the boy they're dating. Sometimes they don't even give a crap about their kids at all and only bother to impregnate their wives so they don't leave. Once I became old enough to know that parenthood was a difficult yet optional part of life that I didn't want to experience, I started being very vocal about it. Anytime a family member mentioned me having kids in the future, I'd say, I don't want kids. To which they reply, you won't be having them, your wife will. As though that excuses me from the responsibility of raising them, and both of them to assume I want to get married to begin with. I was raised by a single mom, and she never taught me to believe in this machista BS that most men in my culture are raised with. I take the idea of being a responsible parent very seriously, but I know I'd be miserable if I forced myself to be a parent. So it ain't happening. A lot of my friends have this BS concept of lazy fatherhood because that's how they were raised. And I try to explain to them that you don't need to be a father if you're just going to be a freeloader like yours. They're convinced they'll do better somehow, but they have about as much patience as a 3-year-old. I have both culture. I was born and raised in France, but my parents are originally from West Africa. There, women are made to have kids and they stay at home. This is their only purpose. But here, it's different. Both parents work and that changes everything. When the mom is working, the father has no other choice than to do the minimum of work. It's not like someone is working and the other stays home. It's not possible here. In France, you have a lot of help for single mothers. They can leave and find an apartment and be 100% paid in a few days. So that's kind of different. I'm from the US. Half my family's from Mexico, but I'm closer to my Mexican side than I am with my white American side because most of them live very far. Very misogynistic culture. Even the women put boys on pedestals while putting each other down. My single mother, who is the black sheep of the family, made sure I wasn't raised with this mentality, and I'm grateful to her. But my family constantly treats her like crap because of it. As a single mom, depending on your state, you do have to get some help from the government, but it's never enough. It mostly just makes it easier to stay poor instead of helping you dig yourself out of a hole. Dang, I didn't know it was that much ingrained in your culture. Very interesting. Thanks for sharing. Same thing, coming from an African culture, it was normal for my mom or the girls to do all of the chores, and because we know how to do it. She was very surprised the day I asked her to ask one of my brothers to help out, and they just didn't have the cleaning gene. I know a guy that has 3 daughters and no sons. Guess what? All 3 daughters know how to use a screwdriver, drill, and other basic tools. They can put together furniture, change electric sockets, replace doorknobs, lay flooring, and tell when contractors for more serious work are BSing them. You know, all that guy crap. One daughter has helped out enough in a shop, he's a hobby carpenter, that she's free to go in and use whatever tools unsupervised. Another is a fix-it person for the powered machinery in the small business she works for. And that one really enjoyed teaching boys her age to use a drill as a teenager. As far as I can tell, he never much cared what his kids had in their pants, and he didn't let it stop him from sharing his life. He also does chores around the house and has stayed happily married, probably not coincidentally. Why can't more guys be like that?
Whoa, 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 whoa. Don't leave. Subscribe. Be a for lifer. Ooh.